Hello, everyone, and welcome to me talking about why I think King Hythlodaeus V of Metaphor Fantazio is a terrible ruler and a terrible father, including this guy right here, who's his astral projection. Well, more is not that bad, but I'm just going to be running through a little bit of my Regicide playthrough as I'm just kind of mashing through everything, so I have related footage of what I'm talking about. I know this could be a PowerPoint, but I mostly just want to share my thoughts on why, and I'm going to be drawing a lot of connections between Hythlodaeus as well as other father figure characters, such as Uncle Iroh and other fathers like um, von Hohenheim from Full Metal Alchemist, and comparing them as well other rulers such as Fado and Leon from Fire Emblem 8 Sacred Stones. Now, with all of this, I'm going to be not judging him on policy, but his effectiveness and responsibility of being a ruler, having people's lives depend on his action or inaction in the game, and as a parent, his ability to provide a safe environment for his son to grow up in. And Hythlodaeus fails spectacularly at both of these. It is so miserable that I would argue that he is probably one of the worst fathers in all of media that is not an outright villain. Like, at least Handsome Jack thought he cared for his daughter. So, uh, I will be going through, because like I just finished my first playthrough of Metaphor, there's going to be plot spoilers. So the, you've been warned. So to start, Hythlodia, and a lot of my critiques occurs before the actual events of the game, because the plot of Metaphor as it stands in the I'm surprised that that enemy just immediately died, but that works. But basically, I'm going to be focusing on the events before the game occurred because um, once Hythlodaeus dies and everything is pretty much just set in motion, and I would argue, like for a JRPG, Metaphor has like an airtight plot, and I love it. What is not airtight is Hythlodaeus beforehand. So to start where he goes through with all of this is Hythlodaeus is king. He travels over to the Elden Sanctum where he ends up. Um, oh wow, I forgot. New Game Plus equipment's really good. Where basically he goes to the Elden Sanctum, meets the Elda, starts learning more about their history, falls in love, has a son with the chiefess, and also provides his fantasy novel to of a utopia and with equality among races to a one young Luis Caradrius, who later becomes Luis Guiaburn. Um, and after this, Hythlodaeus leaves, and then Sanctifex Forden, who is, argue, like the worst character because he's just a racist jerk who uses his religious standing and official standing to promote himself and well, commit atrocities like the genocide of the Elda. Which so basically, after Hythlodaeus goes and um, and basically rediscovers the Elden Sanctuary, then the yeah, after Hythlodaeus discovers the Elden Sanctuary and returns to the capital, Sanctifex Forden finds out about it, goes in, murders a bunch of people under the guise of the church, and then including the mother of the prince, and Luis's parents. And in doing so is like the major first step in setting off the plot of Metaphor. And afterwards, in game, Hythlodaeus becomes grief-stricken, kind of does nothing, and then but also lets Sanctism become declared the official religion of the kingdom, furthering Sanctifex Fortin's basically political sway. Now, what this does, and then afterwards, though, of basically floundering, doing nothing for several years politically, Luis joins the military, starts working his way up, however, becomes a big enough threat to Sanctifex Fortin that when the prince is brought to the capital, and there's a dialogue thing where you see Sanctifex Fortin saying that the king is old and he's going to potentially abdicate rule to his presumably like 8 to 10 year old son, and who is Elda, and he doesn't want that, so he orchestrates a plot to assassinate the prince. Mind you, yes, the king, who is still in power, did not try and remove the person from the capital that murdered the mother of his child. So the prince be an assassination attempt is made on the prince, and that attempt is pinned on Luis Guillaber. Now the king, not knowing whether or not his son is alive, and not all knowing that the best potential candidate for ruling the entire country is the one who wants to promote free beer, decides to do nothing for another like 10, 12 years, except set up a giant tournament where the two people who are in the where the two people who have the most popularity to become king are the ones that A, murdered his wife and attempted to murder his child, or B, the one who is so hell-bent being A, being Sanctifex Fortin, B, being Luis Guillaburn, being so completely hell-bent on revenge and preventing the atrocity of the Elden Sanctum again, that he has cemented in his mind that he is going to use the artifact of the royal family, which is the Scepter of Kings, to return all of the Scepter of Kings is a magical artifact that draws magical energy from all of the people of the country, much akin to turning the entire country of Amestris in Full Metal Alchemist into a Philosopher's Stone, as what happened at the end of Brotherhood and the manga. And so basically you have a countrywide Philosopher's Stone power artifact that, one, you're planning on handing to an 8-year-old, and two, you're having a tournament and you're giving this to A, the guy who murdered your wife and presumably your child, or B, Luis, who's going to return all of the magic and turn everyone into monsters. Incredibly irresponsible. So you set up that tournament, and then he just dies. You can probably already tell that I think Hythlodaeus is not effective. And then Hythlodaeus dies, and then the plot of this game continues. So, in terms of being a ruler, the top two candidates are the ones with one who would use that power to probably cement their power and systematically exterminate people of other religious beliefs, and then you have Luis, who's going to literally end the entire world and turn everyone into monsters. Now, and then you have someone like Loveless, who just wants to provide free beer to everyone. Now, the logistics of that be thrown out the window because we have Philosopher's Stone, countrywide Philosopher's Stone level of magical power that he could just use to terraform the desert around the capital and basically turn it into farmland and feed everyone in the country and provide them with free beer, because honestly, that is one of the better ideas that you could use one of those crazy, powerful magical artifacts for. Because if you have an entire country's worth of magic, providing everyone with free beer is like, that's not problematic at all. All right, so in terms of responsibility for the country, that is absolutely terrible. And in part is because, like, I have lost loved ones. I can understand not, like, getting taken out of it for a while because of grief. What I don't understand is that Hythlodaeus knew Forden was responsible for a massacre of people, and not only that, he murdered his wife. Like, so I am question his judgment on why he didn't just get rid of Forden. Because now one could argue, oh, Forden outmaneuvered him politically. Sure, that is a very good, like, that's a reasonable argument. However, what Forden doesn't have is a magical artifact that has the absolutely ridiculous power that basically Hythlodaeus theoretically could just point at Forden and wipe him out of existence, and also save a lot of people, because Forden was directly responsible for the massacre of the Elda, and is responsible probably for a lot of other deaths throughout this game. So I question his judgment and also his commitment to his ideal of wanting just effectively justice and equality among all of the people, and among all the different tribes, if Hythlodaeus just lets that kind of stuff just walk. He's not a very responsible ruler in that sense of that his inaction is directly causing people to die. And it's not even just like again, using Loveless and the whole beer thing, it's like, are there ecological and economic ramifications for terraforming a desert into farmland to grow food, to provide crops for people, and then also provide everyone with free beer, as free from, as made by the government? Is there ramifications to that? Yes, but someone smart could probably figure that out. Where what someone smart can't really stop is giving power-hungry people who have kind of lost their senses a artifact capable of world destruction. Because in the game itself, it even acknowledges that the thing I want is it the Staff of Kings? It might be the Staff of Kings, or I'm just getting my magical MacGuffins mixed up. But basically, the Royal Scepter has the power to deter invasion from to deter invaders from the country. Like, this is an absolutely crazy powerful artifact. Why are you letting these guys have it? And because of all of his inaction, I am very unsympathetic to Hythlodaeus, because he's basically only talking a huge game, but not really doing anything to really help his people. Like, he is just a problem. And I'll go through a scenario where he dies earlier in the life cycle of the game that is actually very beneficial for everyone for everyone in the country. So, and then as a parent, like I myself am a father. I would want my daughter to be safe. Why would any parent who is at all together want someone who murdered another parent of their child anywhere close to them? Like, Forden should not have been allowed to remain in power, because what if he tried to take out your kid just as he murdered Hythlodaeus' wife? Like, he just wasn't thinking, and also abdicating for like a kid who has not had the time to be properly trained. Like, that is crazy. Like, to do anything well, you need training and learning experience. An 8-year-old does not have the know-how of running an entire country. That is just this irresponsible as well. So he brought his son into a dangerous area, and on top of that, give him an incredibly ridiculous responsibility of basically picking up ruling where he left off, because he couldn't handle ruling because he was so sad that Forden was a big jerk. Like, it's absolute, like, as a parent, I don't understand that he, like, I know that royal guards are a thing, but it's like, it is very clear in game that everyone knows Forden orchestrated the extermination of the Elden Sanctum, and he has the the royal scepter, and Hythlodaeus has the royal scepter and can immediately get Forden out of the situation. Why doesn't he do anything? Even if he doesn't plan to continue as king, at least he could protect his kid. Because in contrast of absentee parents, as I said, there is good old von Hohenheim, who, yes, he does abandon Ed and Al when they were kids, but he abandoned them so he could actually work to protect their future, because in all of his time traveling around to random places, not only was he helping the people of the country, but he also was making the counter alchemy circle to counter Father turning the entire country, including von Hohenheim's kids, into a philosopher's stone. So Hohenheim was, yes, he was an absentee father, but he was absent because he was doing something that would literally save the world later on in the series. So I can, like, is it good parenting? No, but you can at least forgive Hohenheim for what he did, and in that sense he's redeemable, and also that when he is there towards the end of the series, that he sticks up for his kids, especially in the fight against after Pride eats gluttony and fights the entire cast. Like, yeah, you know what? This cutscene actually makes a whole lot of sense. See, that is a child. There are assassins here, and Forden has access to the palace, and thankfully Hulkenberg is here to make sure that we don't die, because Hulkenberg is amazing. And the other part of it is Hythlodaeus is really dumb, because he also probably should have known that it was Forden who tried to kill his son, because the person who places the curse on the prince does not operate under Luis's MO. Granted, this is probably another argument for another thing, but if you've played this game, Like, sure, there's the curse, but would Luis run away? Or would he do this without announcing some grandiose speech? Luis Guillaburn, the guy who gets stabbed by Hythlodaeus, and the divine relic that can stop, that cuts through the king's magic, and is renowned for swordplay. Why would he just run away? Why would he run away from Hulkenberg? He wouldn't. Like, he would have he would have had an insane amount of grandstanding, and like someone who gets, like, yes, it is adult Luis versus kid Luis, but Luis gets impaled by a magical lance and is half dead, as indicated by his health bar from the boss fight, goes up and accepts a duel from the protagonists and the main cast, and foregoing the protection magic of kings that he has and can also bypass for the protagonist because he has Hythlodaeus in his hand because he was stabbed with it, and tosses it aside to put his own life on the line to fight the protagonist for his own ideals. Why would that person with that MO, yeah, yes, again, adult versus kid Luis, but the root of that is there. So how in the world could they think that Luis Guillaburn, the guy who literally yells at the castle in the sky, that does all the royal magic stuff, is the same person who tried a quiet assassination attempt on the prince, and also if the resistance and the king should know that Luis is an Elder because he was from the sanctuary. So yes, he probably has motivation for revenge on Hythlodaeus for inadvertently causing the massacre of the people, but really, come on, Hythlodaeus and resistance. But that being said, that's another rant. But basically, in comparison to Hohenheim, like, Hythlodaeus is just absentee. He's doing nothing to protect his kids. Like, Hohenheim is ensuring their future by fighting father. Like, good on him. And now, a part of why I have brought up Iroh is that, if Hythlodaeus recognized Luis, because he should have, like, Luis was a candidate for general, then he could have gone, oh crap, I was responsible for this kid losing his parents. Maybe I should take any amount of responsibility and try to at least be a mentor or curb this kid's like thing for vengeance, or like try and do something that he has a better life, or just reach out to the poor guy. But no, he was just in his own grief. In contrast, when Iroh lost his son, he went back home, saw Zuko, thought of his son, and was like, I need to do what I can so that I need to be a better dad to Zuko than I was to my own son, because Ozai clearly wasn't doing that. Like, that is such little effort that Hythlodaeus puts in is so frustrating, as you can probably tell from all of my voice. And then in terms of being irresponsible with crazy artifacts, in terms of things is like Fado from Fire Emblem 8, the father of Ephraim and Erika, who dies in an opening cutscene, by the way, but he's at least smarter about royal artifacts, because he at least tells people that basically he had, like, when Erica and Ephraim are kids, he entrusts each of them with a bracelet, which is one half of a lock that allows them to access the sacred stone of Renee, as well as monster slaying artifacts. And this is important because it is known among all of the royalty that there is a demon king, the soul of a demon king, sealed inside of the sacred stone of another country, and should they ever return, they need the sacred stone and those weapons in order to save the land. So keeping them separate and with his kids who would be under good protection, but also having an adults, like, he doesn't tell Erica about it, but Seth at least knows about it, and other knights know the secret of the bracelets, and they can convey that information once they come of age, which they were a little bit short of when he got murdered. But at least that is better, like, that's better care of royal relics than, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it up to a popularity tournament in order for it to decide where, again, nearly all-powerful magical staff that draws on the entire magic of the country can go from anyone from the guy who murdered my wife to someone who's calling for the systematic extermination of the aristocracy, or a guy who just wants to provide everyone with beer. And like, the when the guy, it is just horribly irresponsible. So with all of his inaction, then, like, he isn't even sympathetic, and he gets a happy ending at the end of it. He's like, oh yes, I'm so happy. Like, honestly, that was the thing that made me upset the most, is that Hythlodaeus is like, oh, I get to go to rest knowing that the country chose my son, and that I get to go, like, into the afterlife knowing that, like, with my true love. And I'm just like, what did you do to deserve this? You were the one who literally put the entire country at risk of being destroyed. Like, like, he's Prince Lion, from Fire Emblem 8, I argue, is at least a more sympathetic character, because he, although he is the problem, Prince Lion gets his, for those unfamiliar, Prince Lion starts using the Sacred Stone of Grotto, which has the soul of the Demon King in it, and to heal the sick, because it has more power than the other stones. So after some further experimenting, he starts chipping away at the stone, and then eventually starts communicating with the Demon King, but gets a greater healing powers and ability from it to heal people who are more injured and more sick. And then eventually he gets a vision of an earthquake that destroys their country, leaving a lot of people homeless, starving, and dead. That, like, that he sees that vision, and then is it a good thing to go and destroy all the sacred stones to try and get the magical power to save his country? No, but at least his heart was kind of in the right place. And the other thing, but with that, you kind of feel bad for him, because as you go along in the story, you know that he's losing autonomy of his own body as the Demon King takes over in the dialogue boxes, as the Demon King is literally eating his soul throughout the entirety of the story. So Lion is at least a tragic character who, yes, got manipulated, but at least at some point had a good heart and was scared, because his dad died 3 months before, like, the events of, his dad died like 3 months before the events of the story. So it seems like it's much more sympathetic than Hythlodaeus, who just gave up, did nothing, and left us to clean up his entire mess. It is just awful. So the um what he could have done is, like, one, if he had recognized Luis at all, he could have subverted Luis's agenda of turning everyone into monsters by returning the magic using the royal scepter, and gotten Luis back towards the right track, or at least have had Luis stop Forden and help us out, get back on the throne, because Luis would have because Luis, basically, his parents died, he joined the military, got betrayed by other members of the aristocracy, and was cast out and was forced to rely on himself for the entirety of when his parents died, up through the plot of this game. Where if someone who is in a higher, like, authority position reached out to him, that could have changed his entire worldview. And why I'm making fun of Moore is because Moore and King Hythlodaeus are like the same person, so that's why. And I don't necessarily have all the great cutscene footage for that, but so that's why I'm also making fun of Moore. But in the meantime, like, he could have at least done something to subvert Luis's agenda and protect the country from Ford. Now, that being said, I would say, like, the last piece of this puzzle is that I only get skills available from things that I already have. Still good to actually get some of these, though.
What's this?
Group healing and
This could work.
light magic. Sorry, I got distracted by random gameplay things. But basically, and then, so sorry for the distraction, but going on to my thoughts of that, it would have been almost better, if Hythlodaeus died earlier. Entertain this plotline with me. So, because also Hythlodaeus put the entire Tournament of Kings there, staking the entire hope for the country on his son, that at worst is dead, at best is in a coma because he got cursed. Like, that's not a very smart gamble. Now, let's say if after the prince got cursed, that Hythlodaeus just passed from grief after getting the tournament set up. So this is before Luis is fully cemented in destroying the world, but still wants to stop the injustice from happening because he got the Utopia book from the late king, but also just hasn't been, like, super completely jaded by everyone throwing him out. So let's say the Tournament of Kings happens, and Luis is looking for a way to take down Forden, and he goes to search for Dracodeos because Luis is smart. He probably would be able to find out about it. So in that, Luis ends up meeting Yufa's and Edeni's parents, and basically going with them to the Dragon Temple, defeating the human that's there, and claiming Dracodeos, but also getting the support of the Mystari, who are another oppressed people in this game. And then like the Mustari were incredibly grateful for us helping them, and I'm sure that Yufa's parents would be like, "Oh, this person who is so kind, who reached out and helped us take care of this problem. Not only would we let him have the artifact potentially for the Tournament of Kings, or also to get rid of Forden, who would probably also want to systematically eliminate the Mustari, because he in the main game he's like, yeah, go pillage religious artifacts from them for the church and the tournament. It's fine. We can turn a blind eye to it. It doesn't matter. Like, so they would probably also like, not only would you have that support and kindness, they would probably reach out as parents and be like, wow, you went through so much hardship and lost your parents in this tragic accident. Like, let's show you some kindness. And that could have at least, again, steered Luis on a path to become the hero of this game after taking down Forden, because he was still one of the most popular candidates. So, yeah, I hate Hythlodaeus, and he doesn't deserve the happy ending that he got. So, thank you all for listening to this with some random regicide gameplay, and I just want you to see this, to, if you haven't seen this cutscene or anything, to just remind you, they were not very smart to think that this guy, even as a kid, was the one who, because one, also he gave his airship his family name, so literally any of the spies from the Resistance should have gone, oh wait, that's the Caradrius being the Sky Runner, this, and he doesn't hide the name from it, that that Luis Guillaburn is actually Luis Caradrius, this kid, and that we should have reached out to them. But then there's this guy, whom one of my favorite villains is, he literally, this guy, as you can even hear the in-game characters say, how do you think this guy, who murdered the king in the opening cutscene in his own bed, how would he be the kid who ran away like a coward instead of just fighting Hulkenberg and Grius to the death and making sure the prince died? How? They should, anyone who is knowledgeable should have known that is out of his MO. This guy could have been the hero, except Hythlodaeus was terrible. I'm not supporting his agenda for the main game. I'm just saying, in terms of JRPG protagonists, he's got dead parents. He had some idealistic, visionary person give him a book. He's got magical talent. But what he's missing is a rescue parent. Hythlodaeus could have been that rescue parent, and Hythlodaeus failed miserably. And he just dropped a giant corpse into the city. So, thank you all for listening to me ramble on about my plot critique. I love the plot of this game. Just as a parent, seeing Hythlodaeus in action just made me mad, and I wanted to share it with you. So, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. And though he shouldn't be on the throne of Uchronia, support Luis for the Elden Throne. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya!